Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
One thing that is very fun about being in Pittsburgh is your sort of singleness in fandom. The way that you love the Steelers, right? The way that you, yeah. And I saw this story about a woman whose husband sadly passed, and to commemorate him, she kept his Steelers tattoo. I'm glad we're on the same page. Because initially when I saw it, I was like, what? Yeah, no, kept the Steelers tattoo and it's like in a little. And then in the article, she was like, yes, we kept the tattoo. No, we don't think it's weird. And I was like, I figured you didn't think it was weird. Seems like it was your idea. That would be wild if you were sitting there holding the plaque like, I can't believe they let us do this. This is... little odd, right? And look, I don't know. Wow. Like when I saw it, I was like, because also, look, I'm not gonna linger on it too long, but it was a big tattoo, so I don't even know what that is. That back? Is that arm? Is that, you know what I mean? And maybe this is something that the husband would have loved. Maybe he's like, yeah, keep it, put it in the living room, right? I don't know. I also don't know how hauntings work, but I imagine I do imagine having some of my skin means I'm gonna stop by. If anybody ever kept some of my neck, I think I'd be like, we have to have a discussion. Poltergeist or not, I'm coming over, we're talking about it. You know, you already have to be careful in people's houses because you never know who got the urn on the mantle or something like that. I don't know why they don't sell urns with like a lock on it. Every urn I've ever come across just been ready to be opened like a cup of sugar. We gotta start making urns harder to spill. You know what I mean? I've been in people's houses where they got, whether it's like a family member or the pet, they got the urn on like a mantle or a bookshelf, and I'm like, that's a little high. If it falls, they will be everywhere. And it does sort of, I don't know. It does taint the memory a little bit if this urn fall and now you gotta Dyson him up. And then put him back in a new urn with whatever was on the carpet. Just something to think about, baby. Literally, just even McDonald's cups are harder to spill. just something with a twist lock, something. Because let's be honest, unless you spread the ashes, you never need the ashes. You know? It's not like you hiding something in the ashes and then you're gonna open up the urn, pull out the Glock. Like that'd be a wild home invasion. That'd be a wild, imagine you're, let's say somebody, goodness forbid, but let's say somebody broke in your house or something like that, and then they've got you and the family held hostage, and maybe you did something to them. Maybe you're a healthcare CEO, right? And so then they got you tied up with your family and everything, and it's like, look, I'm sorry, all right? And they're like, sorry is not enough, you about to go. It's like, okay. All right, I get that, but okay, but a long time ago, my wife passed, and I always said that, like, whenever I go, I'd like to go with her, and she's right there. Intruder gonna be like, over there? Yeah, she's on the fourth shelf. Fourth shelf next to Great Expectations. If I could just like hold her, I'll just, just small kindness. Let me hold her while you bow. The intruder's like, okay, go ahead. Go get her. Thanks, honey. No, it's wild. Because now that mantle it's like in a frame, and I guess they're gonna put it on the wall. That seemed just as precarious as any urn. Imagine you having a house party. And somebody bumped the frame, it fall. Now you getting yelled at. You knocked over daddy. Everybody does things differently, and some people very differently. But once again, I don't know. I don't know if he would have loved this sort of thing, But it'd be crazy to think he might be looking down like, ugh. But in case he loves this sort of thing, and in case he can hear us on 3, I'd love all of you to join me in a Go Steelers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Hopefully that will stop me from being haunted. In my life, I've had a lot of roommates, and it's funny because, like, I don't know, I've talked about this before, but like, roommates is like extra family because you're poor. You don't exactly bunk up with a stranger because things are going well. Every roommate I've ever had has been out of necessity. And you just gotta get used to it. But it's crazy because people, the way that people are roommates is usually a clue into how they lived before, like how they were raised, potentially. Maybe they were raised to act differently than they're acting as roommates, and this is them out on their own for the first time, rebelling against all these rules they had at home when they were, younger. That's the most charitable way to put it. Like, I think mostly a lot of people are insane. And there's nothing like having like a messy or lunatic roommate, and then maybe you do become friends though. Maybe you're friends, maybe you're friendly. And then you go visit them at their house and you see that it's pretty much the same. This person is wild through and through. I had a roommate that, there would be some nights where he would sleep in the bathtub. He had a bed, he had a mattress, he had pillows. But he said he would sleep in the bathtub because it felt more normal to him when he would wake up from a night terror. And I was like, I don't know how you find that out. That means this man had night terrors and tried every room before he went tub. And that was a tough roommate to have because, I would go to bed at a regular time, even a little late because, we're young and everything. We're in college, and then I would just know I can't go to the bathroom for the rest of the night. No, I can't. I'm gonna have to hold it until he wakes up. And what would normally be distressing, sleeping peacefully, and then hearing from the bathroom, is only made a relief, because then I know, okay, he's up, I can go. A lot of people in America worry about terrorism. This is a top concern for some people, and it just depends, mostly, to me at least, on when you were born, And I think that within this understanding of terrorism, there are many different definitions, One definition is someone who stokes fear and anxiety for the purpose of fear and anxiety in their enemies. And there's a lot of talk of terrorism or potential terrorism. People get called terrorists all the time, and there are some people that want to equate terrorism to one specific group, one specific religion. But I know that there are terrorists, but the terrorists that I'm talking about, they have no religion. The terrorists that I'm talking about, the terrorists that I believe already live in the U.S., they don't have some God that they call to for their purpose of doing what they do. They just do it to stoke fear and anxiety. I'm talking about people who put an empty box of cereal back on the shelf. These people have no place in our society, all right? I had a roommate. Last straw for me was this man. I had bought some Cheerios, and I bought it for the group. We all eating out here. And so then I go to grab the Cheerios, and I'm excited, I'm hungry. And I go to grab the Cheerios, and there's a certain feeling. Anyone who's been a victim of what I'm talking about will know the feeling. It is a weightlessness of despair. You go to grab what you think might even be a half-full box of cereal, and in your attempt to grab it, you put too much energy, too much force into your shoulder, into your arm, into your hand. And when you put that force into your shoulder and your arm and your hand, and you grab the box of cereal and you go to lift it up, you hit the top of the cabinet. Because there's nothing in there. And not only is there nothing in there, what's been left is crumbs. And the sound of crumbs is the jingle bells of poverty, all right? I've never felt poorer than when I hear crumbs. Hearing crumbs is right out of Oliver Twist. Crumbs is what Charles Dickens wrote all his best work to. I didn't even think I could hear crumbs. Oh, but they have a sound. It's a mix between bread particles bouncing off each other and then a whisper. It's in a moment. It's something that almost can't be identified. And it's the whisper of those crumbs, the same way that you could split atoms or you could collide particles and make an entire boom, a bang, a nuclear bomb, and a hydrogen bomb. The banging together of these bread particles makes one singular noise, and it is the universe telling you from a point of almost quantum physics, bouncing the particles off each other, that you're poor. That's the sound of poor. Wouldn't you love to say yum? You'll never say it. You're too poor. These are crumbs. If you've ever, in your life, out of necessity, not out of deliciousness, had to pour crumbs into your mouth, only in the Bible do I imagine this level of thirst for food. You might as well be in the desert. Even if you are in your Pittsburgh apartment, you might as well be in the desert if you are opening your mouth, letting it hang, while an entire bag of crumbs slides and floats to your mouth. Because the crumbs that are sliding into your mouth from this bag, they have no Christianity. These crumbs are there to embarrass you. They're there to make you look and feel poor while you pour them into your mouth. Maybe that's where we get the word poor from, and maybe that's where we get the other word poor from, because you have to pour these into your mouth while you feel like the poorest person that has ever lived. And the bag is stiff because it's that hard, semi-soft plastic that they only make cereal bags out of. And because of that, it's got a lot of ridges. It's got a lot of things that the crumbs can slide and get caught up on, you know? It's a lot like when you try to get water to a new place and the water is working its way through the canyon, but it doesn't know where to go yet. It's being pushed by the other water. And this gravity that's pulling down the crumbs to your mouth has the crumbs rushing at you from all angles. Even when you try to pinch the bag, to give yourself some dignity. You try to pinch it and straighten it up to make a funnel for your mouth, because this is all you have. Crumbs is all you have. Crumbs is your life. And so you make it as straight as possible. You slide it down. Only when you are making a paper plane do you have this level of intent as you straighten something out. You straighten it out as much as possible, and then you dip it into your mouth, and still the ridges find a way. Because the devil is busy. Oh, the devil is hard at work trying to make you look and feel poor, even if you're alone in the room. You pour the crumbs, they're rushing from all angles, skiing down the plastic to your mouth. But then something happens. You don't know if it's in the middle of the bag or it's at the very edge, because some bags, depending on what cereal you get, have smooth tops and some have ridged tops, okay? That's going to be important, because if it's a smooth top, the crumbs will slide out. If there's ridges right at the top, that means that the crumbs have one last giddy up before they get to your mouth. And so then not only do they giddy up, but you are looking for the food. You'd at least like to see what you're eating. And so you're looking down the bag, and the crumbs are like, we can go anywhere. We could go in your mouth, we could go up your nose, but we love to go in your eyes. And so then you're standing there with crumbs in your mouth and in your eyes and down your face and down your shirt, because as soon as they got in your eyes, they stung, because crumbs are sharp. You might as well juggle knives over your open eyes. You know what that feels like? To be You know what that feels like, to have to dig Cinnamon Toast Crunch out your eyes? Every cereal sharp. Every cereal is sharp. And so I remember I was a victim of terrorism. And I took my crumbs like a man. But then I confronted my roommate. I said, hey. I know what you did. You know what you did. I don't know why you did it. I feel like I've been very respectful. I feel like we have a good rapport. I don't know why you would engage in such a vicious attack against my Saturday. And he was like, what? I was like, you know what? Because he did know what. Because without me saying anything else, he was like, look. I put it back, but there was some in there. And I said, some crumbs? He's like, no. There was Cheerios in there. And then I thought, okay, maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I have accused the wrong roommate, because I have more than one. And so then I walked to the kitchen with him, because the bag and the box were laying on the ground, because I obviously had to run to the bathroom and wash my eyes out of the very sharp cereal. And at this time, first of all, I need to go back. This is the second time this had happened, all right? And so first time was Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then the next time it was Cheerios. That's my mistake. And so then he was like, there was some in there, and then we walk over, and the bag and the box are strewn on the floor like a crime scene. Because I had to drop them immediately. I also got Cheerio in my eye. And I was like, there was nothing. And you know there was nothing because it was only crumbs. And now the crumbs are in me and on me. And then he's like, no, there was something left. I was like, what left? And he was like, there was one Cheerio. And I was like, now I know. You might as well be Osama bin Laden, because the fact that there was one Cheerio you chose to not eat and leave means you're out of your mind. And then I looked, and sure enough, there was one Cheerio on the ground. One Cheerio. A single Cheerio. Like a British person saying goodbye. Obviously, I didn't kill him. I'm here with you now, but I thought about it. I struggled a lot, growing up, even into like early adulthood, with opinion of myself, with like body image and everything. It's very difficult sometimes for any young person to believe, if they don't already believe, that they are lovable or that they are good in just the way that they are. Basically, that they are enough. You're still working on yourself. There's still things you want to do with your life. You got your whole life ahead of you, but there's nothing extra you have to do to be worth anything, And it's a hard thing to convince someone of who doesn't believe it. I wish more people believed it. If you saw yourself the way that the people that love you see you, what a beautiful world that would be, And it's not as if love isn't poured into and on these people, showered with praise when something goes right. Not everyone gets it, but even for the people that do, they still struggle with body image, they still struggle with confidence. And then for the people who should have people that they look up to, maybe not giving them any of that, either being indifferent to them or actively hurting their confidence. Sometimes even when you have those positive forces in your life, you still don't accept it in a way that would help boost your confidence. You're like, she loves me, but that's like my mom. She biased. And I know for me, I spent a ton of time trying to work on myself in different ways. Some things that I actually needed, some things that built me up, and some things that were maybe a little bit unnecessary, I really struggled to look at myself in any positive way until I got really fit. Like in my head, really, really fit. I should look like I saw other guys and I thought I should look like that. I should look like a version of that, at least, And never mind that I'm looking at dudes who have been on their own journey or struggle with their own confidence, or maybe get a little extra help to look the way that they look. I don't know. And I was never trying to be like insanely huge. I joke about being like ripped and real big, but honestly, I don't have the frame for it. Truly, I'm not tall enough to be wide. Yeah, no matter how big my shoulders got, I'd start to just be in the way. Like it looks good in the picture when you're flexing and you've got all the muscles and they're all defined and everything, but then practically in life, it does start to be a problem when you're trying to walk through a door. You don't want to be on a date and see a door and go, uh-oh. How do we handle this? You know, because the shoulders, the hips, they're all wide and muscular, but that door frame, oof, making all of them standard. I can't believe they doing this. And then you're holding hands, you get to the door, and you're like, you first. You look like you being a gentleman, you know. Please go ahead. And then she walks through the door with ease, and you now have to figure something out. You're standing on the opposite side of the door, and you're like, oh, okay. As soon as you strained, you let her know this isn't going to be the life for her. I never wanted to be huge. I just wanted to be very, very fit, you know? And I worked on it with some success, with less success. But even when I started to work out, I realized that wasn't really the issue. Now I was going to the gym, and I was eating as much as possible, and I was gaining a little bit of weight. Not much. And I was like fighting to keep looking this certain way. And I finally accepted that, like, even if I got there, maybe I wouldn't be happy. And I even discovered that through other people who I knew were there. People who I wanted to look like that were in my life, you know? And they still had all the same problems I did. And I would go to the gym and I'd see people packed in there fighting to look a certain way so they could feel a certain way. And there is a bit of a cheat code. You could try to work on feeling the way without having to fully change your entire body. You know? You don't have to earn loving yourself through like straining and potentially hurting yourself, you know? Like there's some things that there's some things that go and be lifted in therapy, you know? Like it's just and but I remember I would see these workouts, and sometimes you see people get creative. There are a couple machines that are pretty straightforward. You sit down, you want to row, you put your feet here, and you pull. And that's the exercise right here. This is just what you do, and you do it for your back. You know, you work a little biceps in there too, and maybe if you're trying to work more of the back, you can lean forward a little, lean back a little with the pull, you know. I saw a guy sit down like normal and then put his feet in. And I'm not gonna lie, I stopped. I was like, this is about to be awesome. And this man, I don't know what muscle it works out. It seems like it just ruins your joints, but he went, Just make sure it's clear. and it looked like it felt like it sounded. This man did 8 sets of 10. And I watched the whole thing. Oh, there was even a time where I went to the gym and, I was working out my legs differently. I was doing some lunges, I was doing some like split squats and everything. Not much weight, but just trying to make sure that I worked out my legs, because there are some people that in all that self-consciousness and all of that wanting to build up for yourself, your body and your image, they still only work on the glamour muscles. They forget the base. They forget their core sometimes, and they definitely forget their legs. And we've been told since we were children that the legs are important. We've been told in many different ways. We've been told by PE teachers. We've been told by coaches. We've been told by parents. We've been told by cartoons. There's an entire cartoon dedicated to people who skip leg day. Johnny Bravo was trying to warn us for our entire childhood how important leg day is. That's not a structure you want. You don't want to have more hair than... So I was working out my legs, and so I'm packed into this gym with a bunch of other people, which is, look, it's very frustrating because this gym was unfortunately affordable. So a lot of people were in there, and I was one of them. And I was hopeful, sometimes they sell memberships all year and they're counting on people not to go. The way the gym structures are built out, it's so that you get all of these people here, but they're signed up, they don't actually show up. And so a gym is able to run fairly efficiently as long as like 1/10 of the people who are members show up at a time. If everybody showed up that was a member of the gym, if everybody started to really decide to work on themselves, it would look a lot like TSA. There'd be very little movement. The only way to work out would be passing the weights, just you can have some. And while I was in the gym, packed in there with everybody else, there was a fire alarm that went off and some smoke that we saw. And, I didn't see any fire, but 2 out of 3 signs isn't bad. And so there were only 2 exits, which in retrospect was a horrible thing. Like you could only get out through the elevator, which you're not going to take during a fire, or the stairs. And so people started clamoring for the stairs. And this is where the real fitness test began. Because there were some people that were out in a flash, but then there were other people who had been working out. So they used all their fire running strength on the treadmill. So now they see that the fire alarm is going off and there's smoke, and they hop off the treadmill and they're like, oh no. And then there were other people, what I would assume people who were a bit out of their mind, that even treated the running out of the gym like a workout. There was one lady literally still looking at her watch going. And then there was me, who had been doing leg day. I tried to make my way out as fast as I could, but honestly, if I could brag on myself for a second, I had gone pretty hard. You know, I had a PR and everything, and a PR is what you don't want to have when it's time to run. Because I put the weight down, I saw everybody running out, and I made my way for the exit, and I could not stop jiggling. Like every... And yeah, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you have to evacuate for a fire, but nobody moves like there's a fire. Even as you're going downstairs to like get out of the building that has smoke in it that is like clearly, at least seemingly on fire, you still get people that do that thing that people do when they get to the top of the stairs, where now that they're clear, they just enjoy their day. If you've ever been in a walkway, there are people who can't wait. At the beginning of the stairs, they can't wait to get up there. And then as soon as they get up there, as soon as they are past the last step, they're like, oh, yes. As if there's not a ton of people behind them. And so I'm noticing as I'm shaking and jiggling down the steps, how slow people are going down the steps. And so people do start to scream like, hey, hurry, move it, you know, fire. And then we get outside, and it was next to the door. One of the reasons everybody was slowing up was that same lady was out front near the door, just like next to the door, just run. Like run, like you still got the rest of the world to run. What are you waiting for? If you're waiting for your gym buddy, you left him. You left him to die. It's funny because I was watching the news and I saw this, can't really call it a debate, it was more of a screaming match. But it was on CNN. And on CNN, okay. Found the one person that works at CNN, and that's... Man, I've never heard anybody clap for CNN like that. Yeah. Now, to be fair, though, look. To be fair, we don't know where our friend is from, and CNN abroad is actually substantially better. Like, when you watch CNN and you're in like France or something, it is actually like engaging programming. That we really are the only ones that do CNN the way we do CNN. I like, as an example, when you travel the world, McDonald's is still fast food. We're the only ones that made it poison. You know, every other country, they just say what happened on the news. They just tell you. They're like, oh yeah, no, then these people came, and then the other people came, and then the first people left, and the second group of people left. It's really mostly in the US where you watch news and it's like, chaos in the streets! Like every news segment is cutting a promo for a horror movie. I was watching CNN and I saw where Jillian Michaels was on there in a debate that she seemed to have started, and they were talking about changes to the Smithsonian and how art and culture shifts between who has the power to dictate how the exhibits are written, who the exhibits are of, and everything. And Jillian Michaels was like, it's so unfair that slavery in this country only gets blamed on one race. Look, as outrageous as that is genuinely funny. Like, look, I'm not gonna tell anybody how to feel, but if you heard the words I said, that Jillian said, and you immediately got angry, I would ask you to take a step back. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel. You can be angry if you want to be angry, because it is a very short-sighted, ignorant thing to say, but that's precisely why it's so funny. It is absolutely hilarious. But the best way I can describe why this is funny is when I was a kid, I would I would be at home alone for about 3 hours. I would get off, from school. I would do practice, and then I would get home and be alone for about 3 hours, right? So for 3 hours, I was the only person in the house. And one day, I was just walking through the house. I was eating something. I think I was like eating some Easy Mac and walking, not paying attention where I was going. And I knocked over this vase. And it was a vase that my mom loved, right? And so it smashes on the ground. And I genuinely didn't know what to do, because I was like, man, I'm going to be in a huge amount of trouble. I need to think of something. And in my head, I was like, what should I do? Should I call my mom now and be like, hey, when you get home, you will want to beat me. But I feel like if I tell you now and you're going to be like on shift for another half hour, and then just the concern, because I never call you, I'm hoping the concern that you have that I am calling you you'll be so relieved that I'm alive, that I'm not dead, you'll want to kill me less. You know, because having that coworker be like, it's your son, you know what I mean? And then have you be like, oh, what, my baby? And then I tell you what I'm about to tell you, and then you're like, oh, I'm just so glad you're still with us that I would hate to make it so you were not, right? That was one thought. Then the other thought was, look, I've given this whole having a family thing a good run. Maybe I dip right now. Maybe I leave home right now. And then the third thing, which is what I did do, was nothing. I went to my room and played some video games for what felt like might be the last time in a long time. And then my mom got home. I remember all the noises of her getting home. I remember the like screen door, and then the lock, and then the lock turning, and then the deadbolt turning, and then her walking in, the screen door shutting behind her, her shutting the door, her locking the door, and the deadbolt. Again, every footstep from the front door to the kitchen, because she missed it at first. And then every footstep after the kitchen back into the living room, where I heard my name. And not my name the way you know it, my full legal name. You know what they put on your death certificate or before a parent kills you? My full legal name. And then I walk in, and my mom is like, what happened? What is this? And then I said, oh, you just gonna blame it on me? wow, wow. Maybe I was in there playing video games the entire time. Maybe somebody broke it, and left. Maybe I'm lucky to be alive right now. You're just gonna immediately blame me because I was the only one here. You're just gonna blame me because it looks like it was me. And that's kind of what Jillian Michaels was doing with the whole, like... Yeah, that's kind of what she was doing. Can't believe you would just blame it on one race of people. And it's so funny, too, because when it comes to history like that, there are always these bad actors that try to pull the thinnest straw man out of the woodwork. You know? There'll always be that person. There was a guy, I don't actually remember his name, and this is before slavery in the U.S. was more based on race and before more people were shipped to the U.S. There was a dude that I've read about that apparently was of African descent, and he came over and he had about 2 or 3 slaves. And one of those slaves was seemingly of the Caucasian persuasion. And whether this thing is true or a myth, I've heard it my entire life when referencing slavery, that there was one black guy who had a white slave. And I'm like, look, even if that's true, that's not what it's known for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're just picking and choosing how you present an entire idea. And it makes sense to me that someone like Jillian Michaels would say something like this. She is from a reality TV show. She's known for the show The Biggest Loser. Yeah, that's who she is, that coach from The Biggest Loser. You know, the nice one. The Biggest Loser was a show, I don't think it's still on the air anymore, so if you're not familiar with the show, it was a show where they would bring on people who were overweight, struggling with image and everything, and they would help them lose weight by making them do slavery.
Give it up for Josh Johnson!
I think that debate is incredibly important. It means a lot if you can take the time to distill all your thoughts, put them up against the thoughts of someone that you don't agree with, and at least come to some common ground, find some basis in reality of at least why the two of you believe what you believe, right? My worry, though, is that every day debate is getting dumber. Like in a way that's not even savable now. I mean, it's one thing for us to disagree about something and then try to talk the thing out as best as possible. But what's happening now is insane. Especially online. I am watching so many people argue if 100 men can beat one gorilla. Based on the comments I am seeing, I'm terrified that one gorilla might outsmart 100 men. This is very bad. The logic is not lining up here at all.
It's a gorilla. It's gorilla. You don't really need to know much. It's gorilla. Gorilla. Like it's a gorilla and it's 100 dudes, but we haven't even established the parameters of the battle. We haven't. Like some people, for their scenario, they want to use 100 UFC fighters specifically. And it's like, all right. Okay, maybe. But also, where is the battle taking place? If this is 100 men versus one gorilla in an open field, maybe everybody can flank them and surround them and jump on each other and try to smother them or whatever the plan is. But if this is just a gorilla running into a Blink Fitness, everybody dying. Like everybody die. Every single person in there is dying. If this was just a gorilla running up into church, then yeah, nobody's making it. The plans are insane. The ways that people who I know don't actually own dry erase boards have gone to the store. Bought a dry erase board specifically for this purpose. Brought it home and then put it in front of their phone like they just had that in the garage or something. Breaking out the marker, going through the whole thing. And this is what gets me, right? Is that no matter who you talk to, anyone that really believes that these 100 men are gonna beat this one gorilla, no matter who you talk to, everybody is like, all right, look, some of y'all will die. It's like, that's why it's not gonna work. You didn't say us. You said some of y'all, which means you plan on. That's the thing that really gets me is that you're assuming that 100 men are gonna cooperate. Like you're assuming 100 men are just gonna be like, yeah, you got it, boss. No, you know what I mean? Cooks are gonna be in that kitchen. Probably enough for a gorilla to kill. That's crazy. 100. I've been going, it's been a week. It's been a full week of me arguing with people. I'm like, guys, it's a gorilla. It's a gorilla. Okay. No. This is important. This is important, all right? Because I could tell just by the vibe in here that a couple of the dudes in here are like, nah. I can feel it. I can legitimately feel it. I'm not psychic at all, but I'm looking at you, look at me, and I can see a couple of y'all are like, maybe he can't do it, but somebody been working out all winter. Okay. No, okay, this is important, all right? So, in the true crime documentary space, okay, as men, we've had a rough go of it. Turns out we do most of the killing, okay? We do a lot of the killing. We do a bunch of it. Some would say all, some would say we just haven't caught the women yet. But we do a ton of it, all right? We do an HBO, a Netflix, a Paramount, a Hulu, a Disney Plus amount of the killing, all right? We do all the podcast killing, we do all that, right? And because we do all that, we've been getting a bad rap for a while. There's a lot of people like, ooh, you going to a dinner date with a man? Watch out, girl, right? Like it's just all of us killing all the time. I haven't killed anybody. I've been at home watching these men kill. But said all that to say that in 2024, we got a bit of a reprieve, right? We got a little bit of a stay on our beat down in the media as men, right? Because a documentary series came out called Chimp Crazy, all right? Now, Chimp Crazy is, you may not recognize it as the savior that it is, but you gotta remember that in documentary series, all all of them, almost exclusively, have been about men being evil and bad and murdering and all this other stuff. And then finally, there was a show called Chimp Crazy, where almost exclusively white women were adopting chimps, letting them get too strong, and releasing them into the community. It's like, that's what we needed. It's not all up. Finally, something is not a man's fault, because they interviewed these women and they're like, no, he's like my baby. And then he gets real strong. She's like, ooh, let him out the window. Like, if you have not watched it, it is a phenomenal series. It is genuinely terrifying and insane, and it is both brilliantly done and horrible to watch, but also captivating. You can't look away. It is truly insane. And I know that there should probably be a name. There should probably be a name for what this thing is that these ladies have, because basically in the US we like having exotic animals, and one of the exotic animals that people really love having is chimps, right? And so these people will get chimps on the black market, and when you get a chimp very, very young, it does act almost exactly like a human baby. Now, what's so crazy about this situation is that some of the women in these chimp crazy scenarios, they do have kids. They have kids. The kid will even be like, oh yeah, I went to college and came back and she didn't notice. She loved that chimp. That chimp is her favorite. Yeah, I don't even know what to do. Right? So some of these women do have kids, some of them don't, right? But they treat the chimp like a child, because when they get it, it genuinely needs them the way that a baby would need a mother. They even have to hold the bottle for the milk, and they have to cradle it just like a baby and everything. And it's very sweet, it's very cute, and the chimp does get attached to them, like deeply attached, like a baby would, right? And the first 2 years of owning a chimp, you shouldn't do it, don't do it. The first 2 years of owning a chimp is exactly like having a baby. You know, they're not really talking, they're learning to walk, they're doing all the stuff like on this sort of timetable that's almost close to like a human baby, right? And then at three, the chimp does get stronger than a baby, but still acting like a baby. You can still train it and tell it what to do and get it to stop doing stuff and everything, because the chimp is like, it's taking in all of the stimulus around it, and if you raise it like a kid, it'll start acting like a kid. At five is where you run into trouble, because at 5 is the first time the chimp looks around and goes, I'm the strongest one in here. I don't think I'm going to bed. All right? So, said all that to say that one example is in the show, Chimp Crazy. This woman is, okay, so she has her chimp, right? And the chimp, they've been trying as a community, as a city, they've been telling her, you gotta get rid of this chimp. She's like, no, it's my baby, no, I can't do that, no, right? Never mind the chimp. She would take the chimp in the truck with her to go places, so she'd take it to go get ice cream or whatever. And there was one time she took it to go get ice cream, and it just got out of the truck and nobody could get it back in, and it stopped traffic because it was like, I like where I'm standing right now, and I bet you won't move me, right? And so then the city told her, look, if anything like this ever happens again, we have to come get the chimp. You can't just have the chimp stop in traffic and stuff. She's like, okay, right? Then one day, the chimp's got to be like, oh, it's over 5 now. And it's just wilding out, because it's like, you know what? I should be in the trees. I should be in the trees, and wood paneling isn't going to cut it. So it's flying throughout the home, right? And she freaking out. So then, as much as these women are like, this is my baby, this is my child, whatever, when you listen to the 911 call, almost every time, they're like, shoot it. Almost exclusively. Every single time, right? And so basically, then she's over here, she is either making so much noise or calls her neighbor that her neighbor comes over to help her, right? Now, this neighbor doesn't love the chimp like she loves the chimp. So the neighbor is like, we have a wild animal in here that will kill us on purpose or by accident. I have no idea, right? And she's already calling. She's calling the 911, and she's like, shut it, right? And then her neighbor, in order to try to subdue the chimp, attacks the chimp from behind, right? And then the chimp turns around, and I don't know if it was on purpose or by accident, but that chimp slapped her face off. And that's not even a gorilla. So you have no chance against a gorilla. In what world do you have the nerve to think you could last again? And then you see the dudes in here. No, okay, we gonna send them in waves, right? So that first wave gonna get in there, try to tire him out. It's like, no, he won't get tired if he killed for fun. If murder is his favorite game, he's not gonna get tired of anything. No. You run it up on that gorilla. Gorilla just grabbed two dudes, right? Just grabbed their legs, used them as nunchucks to beat everybody else. They're over here going full Bruce Lee with it. No, it's insane. It's an insane premise. No. You're assuming 100 men are going to cooperate, coordinate, execute this plan. You're assuming you don't have a single coward in there. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not the one. All right? You better pray I'm not one of your 100 men. You'll know you shouldn't be jumping the gorilla with me, because I'll be that type. If you ever have somebody in your clique like this, don't do the jumping. If there's somebody like me, it's like, let's get them, fellas. That's a sign of somebody's about to get you killed, all right? If they say fellas, that's insane. Attack, boys. No. It's true. I'm not that guy. And I'm fine not being that guy too. There's some people that need to prove something to someone all the time. That's not me. I became very comfortable with who I was a long time ago. Even in other situations, you know, I can already tell you right now, when it comes to things getting bad in the world, apocalypse type of stuff, I'm not I'll die. Apocalypse, I will be dying. Thank you. You know, I don't know. You know, I had some friends that I went to church with, all prepping and all this stuff like that. I was like, I don't know why are you trying so hard to live if the apocalypse happens. Like, we both think we going to the same place. I'm gonna get there early. Why would I keep fighting? No, that's crazy. I'm not gonna keep fighting after bullets. I can't make bullets, so that's the end of my fighting, right? And I can barely hold a gun at that. I'm gonna miss a lot. So if it's like a zombie apocalypse situation, I'm getting bit, okay? I'm not trying to get bit. I'm not gonna offer up my neck or something like that. I just already know that if I'm in a zombie apocalypse situation, when the zombie is coming at me, I'm gonna be like, oh, he ain't got no ears, 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 he ain't got no ears. I will not be running. He ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears. Biting my neck, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no ears, he ain't got no... No, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm a zombie immediately. You know, I feel like I wouldn't even zombie right. If I'm really being for real with you, I don't think I would do it. I don't think I would zombie like in a way that made my family proud. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I could. Because I'm already not a fighter. I wasn't fighting enough to not be a zombie. I was ready to die. You know, like I've watched The Last of Us. I was like, would not be me. That's not making it to season 2, probably not episode 3, all right? You're not gonna catch me fighting to live in a world with no Wi-Fi. Are you serious? What are you doing? I'm out here trying to treat this water, drinking dirty water, but I put charcoal in it, so maybe that'll get some of the Just so I can read by candlelight? Are you serious? No. I'm not gonna be fighting this hard to live in the past. No, and then I get bit, now I'm a zombie, and I'm an embarrassing zombie. I just don't think I would have, I don't know if I got the base to be a zombie. Do you know what I mean? Because zombies supposed to be like, right? I don't know what it is. I feel like I would just be like, ah! I got my hands wrong too. Zombies don't even want to hunt with me. They're like, ugh. Even humans are like, can I be bit by anybody but him? Like, I don't like what he's doing. Oh, new zombies trying to show me how to zombie right. Like maybe, I don't know, who knows? Maybe somebody I know got bit before me, and zombies can like communicate a little bit because it's like a virus that you both share and you trying to spread it to other people. So there's pulling people aside, trying to get them to give me a chance, you know. And over here like, yeah. And that's how I died twice. Like, all I'm saying, all I'm really trying to say is that I'm not like a survivor in that way, you know? And so if it's me and 99 other people, it is up to those 99 other people to take out this gorilla. Because the other thing, even when you have a plan, famously, Mike Tyson said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. In the case of a gorilla, everyone has a plan until they get their whole face slapped off. Because even if we're all charging in, let's get them, fellas. Even if we're all rushing in, right? And we're boot to boot, side by side. You're there to protect the man next to you, and you're running in with everything that you have. We will, out of instinct, stop the first face that comes off. We will be like, ooh, that, just that hesitation alone, 3 more of us died. Just that, oh, you can't even have that. Oh, because if we're talking about 100 men, this is the way I imagined it. And maybe I'm wrong to the people who I think are wrong. The way I imagined it, it was 100 men. It'd be 100 men at random, 100 different body types, 100 different backgrounds, 100 different ages, you know? So I think you're rushing in with 100 random men. If you even have a plan, if you really think you can pull this off, right? I think you still have to take into account who you're going to have by virtue of that randomness. Like, I think out of 100 men, you're going to get at least 9, maybe as high as 13 actual martial arts practitioners. People who actually know how to fight. And actually knowing how to fight may not save you, because you got to remember, men lose fights to men. Every time men fight, a man lose. So just because he knows some stuff doesn't mean it's going to be effective. You might have your jiu-jitsu practitioner in there. Blue, black, who knows? Whatever belt suits your fancy for the scenario. He runs in, he actually syncs up an arm bar on that gorilla, gets him right where he wants him, grabs the arm, legs in between, pulling it, trying to break that elbow, right? Pulling it as hard as he can. And you see the gorilla go, oh. Oh. That is useful. Bow, 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 bow. Now you just made the gorilla a gauntlet to beat the rest of us with. You know? Get a Muay Thai fighter in there. Ooh. Muay Thai with the short, close combat. That's where you get the elbows in, where you get the knees in, right? And maybe he gets that gorilla right where he wants him, jumps up, wraps his hands around the gorilla's head, goes for that knee, right? And then the gorilla's like, that knee was delicious. Turns out knees are my favorite flavor. I will be attributing that to the rest of my combatants. You might have somebody in there. Ooh. Somebody well-versed. Potentially a master of Kung Fu. And we're talking old-style Kung Fu, the things they made the movies of. Right? He'll be a great distraction. You have him off to the side. Hey, gorilla! Y'all now. Y'all get him. Hey, get him. Hey, hurry. Y'all, he getting close. Y'all. Hey, he getting close. Hey, don't run. Oh, he getting close. Y'all, hurry, do something. The last half was in heaven because he died away, like halfway through that. Because there are people who don't want to believe that individuals like this exist. But they do. They do. Out of 100 men, you're going to have at least one of those people that's really gifted with animals. And I don't mean, by the way, like a vet. I mean gifted with animals the way that they make TV shows about those people. You know those dog people? Those dog whisperers? They make the whole TV show. You don't know what, he doesn't actually train you in what he doing. He just knows how to do it. You know, dog acting all bad and everything, and then he whisper in the dog's ear, and you can't tell what he's saying. He's just sort of making noises. But the dog is like, ooh, you cooking, okay. Yes, that does make sense. I should stop biting people in the face, yeah. For every 100 men, I believe, personally, you will have one Doolittle. You'll have one guy that can really communicate with an animal. There are people, and there are animal people. And he is the most animal person. He is an animal person squared, right? He just knows something, connection to nature. There's something intuitive there. And he goes, hey, y'all. Look, we're almost all dead. Let me try. And you're inclined to let him try because you're down to like 43 of you. So if it didn't happen with 100, the odds are getting slimmer by the guy. That's the only thing that bothered me about the whole thing, where it's like there was one dude whose whole plan was for the first 20 guys to die. And I'm like, well, then it's really just 80 of you versus a gorilla. Those are worse odds. Anyway, he goes up to the gorilla, and maybe he's beating his chest, maybe he's making noises. I don't know what he's doing because I don't know how to do it, but he's going up there. And the gorilla is even like, oh, okay. Well, what's that there? And he goes up and even gets close. And the other guys are hanging back. They're like, oh, what should we do? I don't know. It's working. He's talking to him. Should we try to get behind him? I don't know. Let him do what he's going to do. Maybe the gorilla will kill himself. I don't know. He goes up to the gorilla, and he's communicating in whatever shared language, shared motions, movements that they have. And he tells that gorilla, hey, look. It's about 43 of us left. Kill everybody but me.